If you don't want to know the scores, look away now.
Hello, I'm Garry Richardson. Welcome to Look Away Now, mixing sport and comedy, a bit like Rio Ferdinand's hairdresser. Well, what a week in the Premiership. Fulham have survived, and Laurie Sanchez says if he's given the job permanently, he promises to keep the team in the top flight for 3 seasons, autumn, winter and spring. A man's been revived from a coma today after 9 months. Doctors had been playing him cassette recordings over and over again of Steve Coppell team talks. Apparently he was so bored he got out of bed to switch the bloody things off. But first, the big story. Manchester United are the Premiership champions. It's their 9th title in 15 seasons and means that Sir Alex Ferguson's men have won the Premiership 60% of the time. Or to put it another way, it's getting boring now. To discuss United's title triumph, I'm joined on the line by the Chelsea boss, Jose Mourinho. Jose...
Oh, well, that's just typical BBC, that, you know. United win the title and all you want to do is talk about Chelsea.
Is that Sir Alex Ferguson?
Long time no speak, eh, guys? So come on, son. Why call Jose Mourinho instead of me?
Well, because you never speak to the BBC, Sir Alex.
Well, how dare you assume, you know, that just because I don't talk to the BBC, that means that you don't have to call me. The next time that I win the Premiership, I would appreciate the basic courtesy of a phone call, which I can then refuse to take.
Sir Alex Ferguson, thank you very much indeed.
You're not welcome.
Extraordinary. Now, problems at badminton this year, where a third of the riders pulled out due to the conditions. I say problems, for me, it made the event blissfully shorter. But organisers put the withdrawal down to global warming. Our reporter Dave Lamb's been looking into this. Dave, welcome. Is global warming going to ruin sport, do you think?
Well, yes, I'm afraid it is, Gary. And these science-based reconstructumentaries show just how bad things are going to get in the future.
Zara Phillips now begins the cross-country and, oh, that's not a great start. She really is going to have to get hold of this camel.
Are you sure about this, Dave?
It's science, Gary, yes. It's like walking with dinosaurs, but with sport and weather. This'll be the skiing.
Well, he's getting good speed now down this baking hot scree. Oh, and Klamhoffer's hit a palm tree.
And pity the poor synchronised divers. Gary, our only hope is to follow motor racing's lead and seek greener alternatives.
And Button comes into the pits. The tyres are changed. The nose cone is changed. The passengers get in. Button, of course, on a 3-stop carpooling strategy. Everything's ready. Now it's just the 2-hour wait to recharge the battery.
Now, I don't know much about cricket, but it seems to me he's just used the big wooden thing to club the small red thing clean over the ropey bit at the edge of the field. 1-0.
Now, we touched on it earlier with Sir Alex Ferguson, but what a magnificent week it's been for Manchester United. They won the Premiership for a 9th time. Now it really is time for us to get to Jose Mourinho's take on it. Jose, you must feel awful.
I feel fantastic. I don't think ever in my life I have felt more proud of my players than I do today.
All of them?
All of my players, yes. The ones that Big Boss make me have. Of them I am not proud. Shevchenko, loser. Balak, bone-missing loser.
So rumours of disharmony in the camp, quite obviously, they're true.
No, not true. Not true. Not true. The players I do not like are not allowed in my camp. Because when I make camp out of coats and sleeping bags under tables in bar at training ground, I only let my boys in. So no disharmony in my camp.
Well, the key point to make, of course, to you now is that you can only win 2 trophies out of 4, Jose.
No. That is enough. Quite enough. I came on to do some impressions.
What?
Drogba, Makelele, they say I am good enough to have my own show now. So listen I have made for you a sample of my new show pitch. Hello, I am Jose Mourinho, and welcome to my show. Hang on, who is this walking up to me? Oh, it is none other than Rafa Benitez. Hello, Rafa. Do you have something to say? Hello, Jose. I am so fat that when Liverpool play away, I have to have my own dressing room. No, Rafa, you are not fat. Yes, Jose, I am. Well, shut up a minute, Rafa, because here comes Sir Alex Ferguson to say something. Hello, Sir Alex. Hello, Jose. You want a glass of red wine? No. It is a little early for me. Thank you, Sir Alex. Jose, do you mind if I have one? I have to make sure my nose stays purple.
Well, Jose, if you don't mind me saying, I have to say they're all sounding exactly like you.
What are you talking about, Richardson Garry? Oh, okay. Who is this?
Hello, I'm Richardson Garry. Welcome to Look Over There.
What do you reckon? Now, be honest.
Jose, nothing like me. Thank you very much indeed.
And that is the best goal that I have ever seen. If I watch a million matches, I'll never see a goal as good as that. So, in fact, that'll do for me. I quit.
Well, he's been hanging around longer than Ashley Giles' injury problems, but finally, Tony Blair has announced he's going. So how has the sporting world viewed his reign? We spoke to Sir Stephen Redgrave.
Yeah, I don't wish to sound rude, but seriously, unless it's about rowing, I couldn't give a toss.
Craig Bellamy.
Tony who?
Jenson Button.
Tony Blair, good Prime Minister. Well, I think he's done some good things, some bad things, and a few other.
And Jenson Button got slower and slower. And ultimately didn't finish the sentence for the 5th time in succession. Now, once again, I'm joined tonight by our usual panel of ex-professional footballers studying TV monitors. But what do you reckon they're watching for us tonight? Is it A, quiz shows, B, fish shows, or C, the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Good guess, it's actually quiz shows. Well, the first of our pundits is the former Motherwell and Tranmere midfielder Andy McMahon, who's watching a real favourite. What is it, Andy?
Who wants to be a millionaire? Billy-doo. Well, I'll tell you what, Gary, for me, this is the quiz which all other TV quizzes are judged by. We start, of course, with fastest finger first. The crowd here, they always play their part as well. They're like a second man at times. But boy, oh boy, I don't care how experienced you are. This is such an intimidating place for any contestant to come to. It's game on here.
Thank you. Now, next up, it's the former Oldham Athletic manager Stan Allen, and he's watching Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right, Gary. Now, I've seen quite a bit of this quiz show lately, which is surprising, perhaps, given I'm neither self-employed nor infirm. Edmund's, of course, the man to watch here, Gary, and what a signing he's been, and on a free transfer from Crinkley Bottom, let's not forget that. The person who played the game yesterday drops out, obviously, and is replaced by some bloke in a jacket who's not said a word as yet, but who I've already decided I hate.
News from Catchphrase, it's the ready money round. The contestant has answered, Mr. Chips making love to a bucket. It's good, but it's not right. Finally, the ex-Walsall defender, Brian Brown, he's watching Countdown.
I certainly am, Gary, and I think we're just heading for a break. Yep, there's the advert for 7 Seas cod liver oil capsules, and, there's the viewer's conundrum. Oh, hang on, I I think I can get this one. I'm just going to make a quick call, actually, Gary.
Brian, thank you very much. Now, an interesting statistic on countdown for you here. Half of the clock on the show serves absolutely no function whatsoever.
And it's Silver Birch from Slim Pickings, and it looks like there's going to be a photo finish which Silver Birch will win, as he's a much more photogenic horse.
Well, now I'm sure everyone's looking forward to the Olympics in 2012, and Team GB are already looking at ways in which they can increase their haul of medals. The main way, of course, is to get the IOC to give away medals for coming 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th and last. Another way is by introducing new minority sports in which they think they can excel.
What have you done today to make you feel proud?
Well, my goodness, this really is quite extraordinary. Only 4 players left in the competition, and 3 of them are British. Germany, Italy and Australia all out as they simply couldn't be asked to stand in line anymore. And France, of course, disqualified there for pushing in. I mean, it's all extremely tense. Oh, that's it, though. The Danish have thrown in the towel. A great irony, as it took hours of queuing to get the towel in the first place. Well, my goodness me, it's GB 1, 2 and 3. They'll now have to wait in line for 3 hours for the medals, but they won't mind that at all.
And if you'd like to see international queuing as an Olympic sport, then you can register your vote by texting to 31146. Well, time now for our music in sport correspondent, Richie Webb. Richie, what have you been up to this week?
Well, Gary, with the end of the football season looming larger than Peter Crouch at a children's party, or indeed any party, actually, I've come up with a few unusual celebratory anthems.
Unusual?
Well, certain teams like Middlesbrough or Villa, it's hard to find something to celebrate, but that hasn't stopped me trying, Gary. Oh, no.
Halfway up the table is the place where we sit. There isn't any other place quite as dull as it. We'll never win the league, we'll never win the cup. There's very little point in ever turning up. It's always the same, home and away. We're never the first game on Match of the Day.
And of course, talking about achieving absolutely nothing leads me nicely to the international scene, Gary, and my pitch for this summer's official England 2007 anthem.
Hang on, it was the World Cup in 2006, the European Championships not till 2008. What on earth have we got to celebrate this summer?
Well, the very fact we're not playing, for a start.
This is the year we get it right. Join our happy song. We've got absolutely bugger all to do. Even we can't get that wrong. We can't wait for July, 'cause we'll be in Dubai. We're gonna spend the summer polishing our Hummers. England, there's no way we can lose on a Caribbean cruise. No tabloid doom and gloom, 'cause we'll be painting the spare room. England, there'll be no humiliation by an emerging football nation. England!
Ladies and gentlemen, Richie Webb. Now, recently, the government announced that to fund the 2012 Olympics, they were going to cut arts funding, a decision that, like a traditional football meat pie, has not gone down well, and indeed has made some people physically sick. Well, joining me now to discuss the matter is Arts Council representative Barbara Yardley. Welcome to the show, Barbara. How's this affecting you?
Well, we're having to cut funding for a lot of shows, really reduce them in scale. We've had to cut 7 brides for 7 brothers down to a bride for a brother. Our production of None Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is receiving horrible reviews. And we've got a school's tour of Waiting for Godot, where, for budgetary reasons, Godot turns up after 10 minutes and the play stops.
I mean, is there any way at all around these budgetary problems?
Well, actually, yes. It turns out we've discovered if we can make our show sports-related, then we get loads of money.
Any examples of that?
Well, actually, I've brought along an advert for our coming season.
Coming this summer from the Arts Council of Great Britain, a unique mix of stage and sport. For snooker fans, why not come to the Crucible Theatre, Sheffield, for Arthur Miller's The Crucible?
Witchcraft. It's witchcraft, I tell you.
It may be witchcraft, Goody Proctor, but it's given him a good position on the black.
For athletics and ballet fans, there's Swan Lake with added triple jump.
Here's the swan, a hop, a skip, a jump, a lovely plie and twirl, and they're down in the sandy lake for a new personal best.
And now the greatest love story in the history of the world also has a football spin. It's William Shakespeare's Ronaldo and Juliet.
Ronaldo, Ronaldo, wherefore art thou Ronaldo? Oh, you've fallen over again.
What have you done today to make you feel proud?
Well, Britain's still in the lead here following some fabulous quoting of Faulty Towers, including the phrase, don't mention the war, and of course the brilliant hitting the car with a branch moment. But it all rests on their final freestyle routine. Very difficult, this. They're going for the full Dad's Army retail with triple Don't Tell Him Pike.
And if you'd like the sport of droning on about sitcoms to be included in the 2012 Olympics, then register your support by texting We're Doomed to 31146.
We've got a streaker on the pitch here. Cheeky. Hang on a minute. That's my wife. Why are you naked? Why is my wife naked? I've always got to keep the lights off.
A week today, the first test starts between England and the West Indies. Lords has got some brand new covers, and the players will be smuggled out of the ground under them in order to avoid being egged by angry spectators. The West Indies, however, will be hoping to raise their game with the help of one of their new appointments. It's sports psychologist Cornell Williams.
Hello, Mr. Richardson. It's a pleasure to talk to you and your millions of listeners around the globe.
And clearly you're from a sports psychology background, I guess.
Actually, no. I'm from a groundsman's background. I used to heckle the players when I was tending the ground, so to shut me up, they made me a psychologist.
But you've obviously studied psychology.
Well, yes, I've studied psychology from cover to cover. And after that, I took up gardening. But I've also studied the Bible, which, as you know, is the greatest book on man. It teaches things like not to covet your neighbor's ass, which is good because too much battymanting is not good for team spirit.
I would just like to apologise for those remarks. Those aren't the views of this programme. I would like to apologise to any battyman or bowleyman listening. Cornel, what would you say is behind the West Indies cricket team fall from their glories? Because it's been immense.
Well, it's very complex, Gary, you know. But some people are saying that mainly it's the players being a bunch of vain, useless, conceited, lazy, underachieving, misfit and preening girly boys.
Who are the people saying that?
Well, me mostly.
I've got to ask you this. How do you actually motivate your players?
Well, I don't really know if I can go into this because, you know, there's certain private technique that we have. But, all right, look. Sometime I'll get a batsman, he's going into bat. And as he's walking out to the crease, I will walk up behind him with a big bit of 2-before. And I said to him, if you come back in here without make 50 runs, I'll give you 3 licking of your head with this bit of wood, right? It's no joke, soldier, for true.
Is there a name for that approach?
I call it threaten them with a piece of wood.
I mean, what about traditional techniques such as visualisation?
Visualisation, yes. Well, I'm a big fan of visualization, right? I say to my players, visualize this. If you do badly, I'm going to hit you 3 licking in your head with a piece of wood.
I see. The key question, and this is important, have you ever actually worked with cricketers before?
No, but I've worked with the England team. Michael Vaughan came to me before the World Cup for help with his batting. I used Obia, what we call Obia. I put him into a deep trance until he could sense nothing around him.
And?
That's it. I meant to snap him out of it, but...
Cornell Williams, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Gary, if you don't do the next bit properly, I'm going to give you 3 licks in your head with a piece of wood.
That's a very difficult ice skating move. Goes into a lovely figure of 8. And now a figure of 9. Extraordinary. Goes for the figure of 10. And that was a bad idea.
Well, let's cross over to Deal or No Deal now. Stan...
Oh, it's still in the balance here, Gary. Some big numbers left, but also some small ones. Amazing how that's worked out. But what's impressed me, and Edmonds too, for that matter, are the tactics used by today's contestant. Now, I think she's got it spot on, because getting everyone to chant blue, blue, blue before the boxes are open, well, that's got to affect what's actually in the boxes.
Now, over at Blankety Blank, we're hearing that Carol from Basingstoke has got through to the Supermatch game. Supermatch game. Supermatch game. Supermatch game. Supermatch game. Supermatch game. There. Now, finally, let's see what's happening with Brian Brown over at Countdown.
Yeah, I've sort of moved away from Countdown, to be honest, Gary, when I realised that the Viewers' Conundrum wasn't a cash competition, it was just for fun. I've switched to GMTV.
How can you be watching GMTV? It's not the morning.
Well, it's a rerun of yesterday's show I found on an Arabic satellite channel, Al Quizira or something. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the phone-in's still open. Anyway, let's put it this way. If they'd already chosen the winners, I'm sure they would have told us.
Brian... Now, at this time of year, there's nothing more English than a woodland carpeted by bluebells and wild garlic flowers, giving way to an idyllic village green. Except, of course, Kevin Peterson, a man so steeped in the flag of St George that if you cut him, he bleeds red.
For I am an English gentleman. My name is Kevin Peterson. Ha! Kevin Peterson here. My favourite English pastime is probably battle reenactments. In particular, jousting. If I had to play any other sport in the world, it would probably be jousting. I love jousting. Basically, what happens is you get on a horse holding a stick. You're holding the stick, not the horse. The horse needs all its hands for running. And then you charge at somebody else also holding a horse and holding a stick. But if they're not holding the stick by the time they charge, then it's their own bad luck. You can really cop one in the ribs when you're jousting. That was what was so great about having my ribs broken by Glenn McGrath a while back. I had this huge bruise and people would come up to me if I had my top off, you know, in a club or a supermarket, and they'd go, "Blimey, Kevin, what's happened there?" And I would say, "Oh, that's just a jousting injury." That earned me loads of respect. I love respect. Over and out.
What have you done today to make you feel proud?
And it's all hush now as the British number one picks up the roll of gaffer tape, tears off a small piece and sticks it over her cheek. Not a great start. Another bit comes off and she tapes her nose into a pig's snout. Two more strips, tape one eye open, one eye shut, and finally she tapes up her bottom lip onto her chin, revealing her lower teeth. Absolutely staggering.
And if you'd like to see the sport of putting bits of gaffer tape on your face in the Olympics, then text Hitler moustache to 31146.
So, Joey Barton, into Darbo again. Oh, and again. Stop it, Joey. Leave him alone.
Well, now the part of the show where you, the listeners, get to let out all your aggression and have it broadcast on the radio. A part, of course, from those of you whose calls we don't allow on the air, which, if anything, must make you even more angry. It's the Look Away Now rant line.
Hello, yeah, I just wanted to say that I am a big fan of Tony Blair. Right, he was a great left-handed player who thoroughly deserved being ranked number 10 in the world. Hang on, I'm thinking of Tony Mio.
Yeah, hello, I'm delighted that Michael Ball has been charged. Yeah, I saw him in Phantom of the Opera and he was dreadful.
It's Susan Sarandon I feel sorry for. She's got an Oscar, for heaven's sake. Now, how's she going to react when she finds out her grossly underrated 1999 comedy drama Anyway But Here was bumped for the snooker? In what other scenario would Mark Selby be given preference over Susan Sarandon? In no other scenario is the answer.
If I were taken hostage by any sporting commentator, I think I'd want it to be John Virgo. That's all I have to say.
Hello. I just want to make it clear. This is not Sir Alex Ferguson. I'm not talking to the BBC. I'm not on the line right now. And I don't care who you are or what you want.
And if you want to make a contribution to the Look Away Now rant line...
Oh, Joe, big moment here.
well, it sounds as though there's about to be a dramatic conclusion over at Deal or No Deal. Stan Allen.
She's down to the last 2 boxes, Gary, and it's the 250,000 and the 10p. The banker has just made her an offer of 103,000. Oh, but she said no deal. It's no deal, Gary. Unbelievable. Will she live to regret that decision? I am absolutely convinced she will not. Because Noel Edmonds has got everyone to use positive thinking. That clinches it for me, Gary. There can be no doubt about it now. So here we go. He's removed the seal. He opens the box. And it's the 10p. She's won 10p. Well, I suppose it was a 50-50 chance either way.
Millionaire Andy McMahon, match that.
This man must have nuts of steel, Gary. £2,000 he lost his last lifeline. He was gone. He was out of it. But he's dug deep. And now we're playing for the million. He's given his final answer. There's nothing more he can do now except wait for Tarrant to get over himself and tell us the answer. The crowd here are fit to burst. Which way's it going to go? That's the end of the show. It's the end of the show. It's over for today, and we're not going to find out whether he's won till Bank Holiday Monday. Well, for me, that is Tarrant at his absolute worst. He is killing quizzes. He is killing quizzes for the ordinary fans. And for me, he should never be allowed to take charge of another quiz again.
Oh, I'm in here, Gary.
Let's cross to Brian Brown. What have you switched to, Brian?
You say we pay on Richard and Judy. Oh, hello there, Judy. Lovely to speak to you. Hello, Richard. Right, go. Right, now, this is one of them things that French people have them. No, they don't wear trousers. No, I've got it. They look like houses, only small. Come on, forget it. Pass, it was a cat, you idiots. Bloody hell. It's Kevin Costner. What do you mean I can't say Kevin Costner? It's Kevin Costner. How am I meant to talk about Kevin Costner without saying Kevin Costner? Right, move on. No idea what that one is, pass. Well, I'm very sorry, but I've simply never heard of olives. Oh, that's it. My time's at arse.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Well, that's just about it for this week, but next week we'll be previewing the Championship playoffs, and we'll be looking in more detail at the first test as Marcus Trescothick made nearly 300 runs for Somerset and declared himself unfit to play for England. He's absolutely right. If he'd made a duck, then he'd have been ready. I'm Garry Richardson. Good night.
Wigan have identified one player that they need. They've sold Emil Heskey and brought in Judge John Deed. With JD on the bench, they're staying up for sure. And if he plays instead of Emil, well, there's more chance that they'll score.
Look Away Now was presented by Garry Richardson with Lawrence Howarth, Dave Lamb, Richie Webb, Miles Jupp, Mario Rosenstock, Felix Dexter, Dave Cooper and Angela McHale. It was written by the cast, Mark Evans, Will Ing and Danielle Ward, with additional material from Kieran Quirk, Owen Parker and Andrew Douglas. The music was by Richie Webb. Look Away Now was produced by Will Saunders, and to find out more about the show, check out the Radio 4 website.
We're staying up, despite dwindling support. And if we go down, we'll see the Hammers in court.